Hey, I'm live. I bought this novelty book, Reasons to Vote for Democrats. And of course, someone decided it'd be a fun joke to just have it all be blank pages. So I turned it into a sketchbook. There's a little Batman. We're waiting for Scott to show up. And if he doesn't show up, it's all my fault. I I did an earlier thing where I tried to get us linked up on House Party so I could use my iPad. And I don't know why I'm showing that. It's pretty random. um, that didn't work out. And well, it worked out. It was just like a Skype call. I gotta look at these closely before I start sharing them. Guy with the big top hat. It's funny to read P.G. Woodhouse talk about guys' top hats, and how much they lust for having a perfect one. Back in the day of the Roaring Twenties, we may have our own Roaring Twenties. You can only hope, of course, we're already nutty enough. Do we really need to go just slightly more mad? Still, anytime someone comes across with some kind of something like that, I don't know why. Again, watch your instincts for sharing everything. I'm going to my wimpy Batman. I don't know if that's going to come through. I could ink that up and make it worthwhile. I have been stuck on. Oh, there he is. Excellent. Hey, there he is.
Hey Ellis, how you doing?
Hey, we're
Uh-oh.
doing good. I just decided to start and have something as a placeholder that I could delete if I decided it was embarrassing enough.
Oh, no.
No, no.
I'm glad you did. I'm sorry I missed your earlier email.
Oh, that's cool. You know how we started this evening. We sampled House Party and decided that, well, I couldn't figure it out. If there's a way to record that, I have no idea how you record your House Party sessions. I couldn't figure it out.
So
you'll have to figure it out.
Okay, I can hear myself over your deal.
Well, I don't have my headphones on.
Oh,
Maybe I should.
okay.
Maybe I should do that. I'll do that real quick.
Are you putting headphones on?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna.
I was going to try to get away with not doing it.
Well. So how are you doing, Ellis? We didn't really talk earlier.
Oh, I'm doing really good. I've been enjoying. It must be a contact kind of hypnosis. There's no reason for me to behave any differently than I ordinarily behave, and yet
Sure.
everybody else, saying, "Oh man, we're under such hardship. We're locked away and bored and all that." I bought 2 seasons of Justified and have binge watched. I think I'm 3 segments away from. It'll make 26 segments of Justified I've watched over the past 3 days. Can you imagine? 26.
I've been binge watching The Sopranos.
Oh, those are good.
But I'm still working though. So
Yeah, I'm not working because I'm writing, so I'm saying I can't write while I'm watching something. If I
Well,
could be, if I were drawing, I could do that maybe.
you mentioned people under hardship or whatever. Michelle and I are both still working. my work has even said they're paying people that aren't working right now, and they'll pay us for a certain amount of time, which will probably, I mean, they've allowed till June 1st, and they said as long as the cutoff or the quarantine or furlough or whatever lasts or ends by June 1st, they'll pay all the employees. Now I've been working, and I got a text from my boss. So I'm working and getting paid while some of my coworkers are not working and getting paid.
You have to be covered by that. Is quite a stretch. That's a great employer there.
Oh, absolutely. I don't know all the details. I don't know if there's some kind of incentive but they have committed to and I've gotten several emails from them. And so like I worked about 7 hours today, and I worked 7 hours today. And so at the end of the week, they'll add whatever time I don't work to bring me up to 40. And my boss, or actually two bosses up my boss, my building manager, my manager, said, texted me today and said, your department is working the most hours of anyone working at home. Do you need to? And at first I thought I was in trouble, or I thought, oh, what's that mean? And then I think what he was saying is don't work your people so hard. So,
well, yeah. He's saying, you guys take it easy. Everybody's in a mode right now, and join us,
Well, I think so. And so I had a talk today, and I told the guys that we're going to cut back our hours. So we're going to work half days, 4 days a week, and we'll see how that goes. If we get busy, I'll have them. I mean, or I may just do it myself. I don't know, but, okay. So I wanted to show you a couple things that I got. Okay. Have I ever showed you this? I don't know if you can see this.
How to Draw the Marble Way.
Have I showed you this particular?
You got a groovy hardcover.
I have a hardcover, so
nobody has that.
I don't know where. Well, I found it at Half Price Books. Years ago, I used to work with a guy that had a hardcover, but it was a like a regular looking hardcover. It had a dust jacket. This one is printed on it. This is like a library edition, and it's even got a Follett bound kind of thing on it. So I felt this is one of those books I was showing you earlier. For anybody that might be listening, my shelf in my studio collapsed. It's been about a week and a half ago. And so I had to take all my comic boxes off of the shelf and my flat files and some other stuff and rearrange a bunch of stuff in my office. And I found this was buried under a stack of books, and I found it. So it's like, okay, I'm not going to lose that again.
Show it again.
Okay.
Because I've got you on solo.
Oh, okay. Now. So I have, and I can't find my other one. I've had this book forever, but this is a hardcover. I don't know if you can.
I've got two copies.
I think I bought you a copy.
You bought me one.
You were telling me you wanted one, and I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, well, it surprised me I didn't have one.
Well, you had a great idea to get it, and I don't know if you did it. Cut the spine off and have it spiral bound. Did you ever do that?
Yeah, that is a good idea. In terms of like at least your scans are easier to do.
And the ability to open it and stuff. Yeah. Anyway, I consider this like probably one of the best. If you're going to draw comics, probably one of the best art books. So.
Yeah, it's the best. It's one of the best how-to draw in general books.
It's just so good. And I've been reading at New York. When we went to New York a couple months ago, I bought the Essential Ms. Marvel book, and I've been reading it. The Essential Ms. Marvel, and I've been flipping through it, and I've really come to appreciate that Bronze Age art. This guy named Jim Mooney, who I'd never heard of before. And it's just phenomenal, but he was not real flashy. He was never a superstar. But he was just a solid. I mean, everything that book he did, and so
I don't know why I haven't. I'm going to look him up right now and be reacting to what I see when I see Jim Mooney.
Yeah, look art. For. Yeah, now He did a couple. He did about 9 issues of Ms. Marvel. I have a Spider-Man, like a Peter Parker essential, that's coming that he did like I don't know, like 10 or 15 issues in. He did the entire run of Omega, but it was finished by somebody else. I don't like that as much. It's got kind of a weird finish on it.
Oh,
But
cool. He dates back to when
over
I
to the
was reading Batman. Yeah,
he was a Batman artist for a long time. I was reading or I was listening to a book about Stan Lee, and like in the 40s, I think it was in the 40s or late 40s after the war, I believe, him and Jim Mooney were buddies, and they're like Jim Mooney's wife and Stan Lee were big antique people. I think Stan Lee's wife maybe. So the four of them would go looking for antiques all up there around New York.
mm-hmm.
So I say all that. Oh,
Upstate New York.
Yeah, did you?
Like that.
Yeah, did you find any of his work?
I did. I saw it. I was on Lambic, which made me want to ask you the question. Are you on Lambic?
I have been. Me personally.
Yeah. Have you got an entry?
I don't think. No, I got an entry to. What's the other one? There's another comic thing.
The encyclopedia or something like that.
No, it's like Comic Creator Database or something. I got some stuff on there. Okay, so when my shelf collapsed, I found this. I don't know if you can see this.
Wait a second.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. Let me give you a solo layout again.
Okay.
Okay.
So so what this is this is some handouts that was given to me probably 15 years ago by a guy I worked with. And he said, oh, when I was in art school, he knew I liked drawing comic books. So when I was in art school, one of my instructors gave me this, and there's no indication on what it is. It's just anatomy stuff.
Well, yeah, I like that one. I'm seeing that quick shot of where it's showing the travel of the head, of the skull on the head, the stalk of the head. No, it's another one that shows a guy looking as far.
This one.
That one, yeah, looking as far up as you can with your head, and that's something that's real easy to maybe go a little over the top with in comics. It's like say, okay, my head is, my torso is now launched horizontal to the ground, and my head is looking in the sky.
So I had these, and again, it was something that was buried that I unearthed while I was cleaning up from the catastrophe, and there's no indication on who this is, but I suspected this was Rich Buckler, because I have let me see, I have these 2 books of Rich Buckler's.
Oh yeah, that comic book. Artist thing.
This one,
How to Be One. Yeah, that's a good book.
And this is a great book. I don't know why it's not more popular. I don't know why. I don't know if it's still in print. This one is super hard.
That one kind of taught me that it's simpler than it looks to an extent, and especially as regards scripting. And it made my brain, go to, how to break out stuff and kind of figure out what I ought to be thumbnailing and stuff like that. It's a good book.
It's a good book. So, but this does have a part in the back about drawing the figure, and it looks kind of like this other one, and some of the other art up here kind of does. When I first got this, I was really turned off by how I don't know what you'd call this, loose Buckler's art is. I mean, it's really but.
Well, he's mostly a Charlton guy, wasn't he?
No, he did. He had a long run on the Fantastic Four.
Oh, okay.
After who was on after Kirby? Was it Romita? After Romita, or was it Buscema? Maybe Buscema. Anyway, so, and he created Deathlock. So he did some stuff. Anyway, but so I had these, and I thought, well, and it looks very similar kind of art. Yeah. And so I thought, maybe that's, and I pulled these out, and I pulled this, and none of the pages corresponded. And it has page numbers, and I don't know if you can see them. You probably can't see them, but it's like they held the book open, so it feels like it's a smaller book, or they reduced it or something.
Hmm.
So I did a little research, and I put a thing on Facebook. That's why I'm telling you this, because you wouldn't know that because you're not on Facebook, which is fine. Because I thought, well, I'd like to find that book. Actually, what happened is I thought, now that we're in this slow period, I ought to copy some of this stuff because it's got great simplifications of the muscles.
Yeah.
And so I did a little research, and I found I found a couple more books, but I found a book that Rich Buckler had written called How to Draw Superheroes.
Hmm.
And so I thought, and if you look on Amazon, there was one guy selling one copy. He didn't have a picture of the cover. There was no reviews. There was no nothing. I found a picture of this cover just on Google, looking for it. And I thought, well, and they wanted
What'd you
$10.
pay for that? What'd you pay for that?
$10. I paid 10
$10.
bucks
Okay.
for it. And I thought, well, I'll get it. And it's the same thing. And what I didn't realize, and it said it's an ex-library copy. And so it's got everything. I mean, it is definitely where it came from. It's got some good stuff in the front that didn't get copied. And it's got a thing on foreshortening. And in the back, it's got some folds, and it's got a whole thing about capes and drawing capes, and that didn't get copied. But what's crazy is it said it's an ex-library book.
Right.
I generally don't buy ex-library books, but this was the only one for sale, and it said, "Oh, it's in good shape." Well, it's been hard. They put it in a hardcover, and it didn't say it was a hardcover. I was expecting a soft cover. So when I got it and it was small, I thought, well, and I opened it and I'm like, man, this is in beautiful shape.
Yeah.
And it's from '86, and it looks like, I mean, it's perfect, and it's a hardcover, and it's got a few little library markings on it. It's got a stamp up front where they stamped it, 88 and 87. It's got some
Wow.
Dewey Decimal stuff. But here's what's crazy. It came from the Boston Public Library in the Fine Arts Department.
How about that? Well, that's the reason it didn't get overused. It's like,
Right. Yeah. It was mislabeled or,
yeah.
something. But anyway, I
Oh,
got that.
that's got some great stuff in it, I can tell.
Well, I was very happy with that because
You may have got something on the cheap there by virtue of buying a library copy that, might cost $100 to try to hunt down.
well, I haven't looked at that. I mean, you could be right. It might be one of those deals that, like, if you buy it off of eBay or whatever,
Well,
it costs you an arm and a leg.
that would be consistent with your luck as regards running into deals. I tell you, you're one of the luckiest guys on getting deals. You just blunder into them.
I
Well, it's
Yeah,
because you take the trouble. You're always in places like half price books and everything like that.
I do seem to get lucky about stuff like that for sure.
You got to be there to get lucky. Yep.
Well, what's funny is I haven't been to a bookstore since the quarantine. Before the quarantine,
I wonder if any of them are open.
No. Well, not. Half price books keep sending me emails about doing promotional stuff. But I've especially with I found that other book that I emailed you about, that Isaac Asimov book, Murder at the ABA, and it was on my bookshelf, was overlapped by my shelf with my comics on it, and so when I pulled that one shelf out, it revealed, like, oh, there's that book. I'd looked everywhere for that book, Ellis. I couldn't remember if I'd bought it or not. I thought I had.
Is that a collection of short stories or what?
No. It's a story. It's a story about
his detective character.
Well, no, it's a story about a murder at the American Booksellers Association convention, which
Uh-huh.
sounded interesting to me, which is why I wanted to read it. And I was thinking, I think I got that book, and
And then
but
your
it's
shelf.
not a. He's not a. Yeah, my shelf collapsed, and the secrets of the universe were revealed.
Yeah.
The well, I the it's it's weird because Isaac Asimov is not the main character, but he's in it,
Uh,
and he was commissioned by the American Booksellers Association to write a book about the convention, and so it's kind of a weird. The whole thing is kind of odd,
well, it
but
sounds cool. I mean, I asked if it was short stories because I don't know. There's something about the title that makes me think it might go to a story. I remember Asimov wrote about a pool game that was being played around some sort of bet that if someone
yeah,
shot a snooker ball into a ray that had some sort of effect, some sort of it was a real techie.
I I've
You
I've
read that?
I don't. Well, I've heard that story, but I don't know any of the physics about it or whatever. But yeah, it
Well,
was like a.
and when the ball hit the ray basically or whatever it was that was what the bet was about, the guy was enough of a pool shot that some guy that was annoying him or something like that, this guy had it figured out what would happen when the ball entered this field, and it shot with some sort of you know thing that Asimov understood, some sort of factor
Yes.
that if you could create the little beam he was talking about, anti-gravity or something like that,
Yeah.
it basically shot the pool, the cue ball at him, at the annoying character, shot it through his chest at about the speed of light, basically. And
Yeah. It's like
so it was a murder story. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Isaac Asimov apparently he wrote quite a few murder stories. I don't know how many full length novels he wrote, but this was one of them
Yeah.
of murders that are.
I think he had a
I
regular
thought it's
character. Yeah. Go ahead.
yeah. He did they were called the Black Widows, I think, or Black Widowers,
Hmm.
and it was like a gentleman's club
Oh
that would
yeah. That may have been
solve
one of them.
crimes.
That's
So,
interesting. Okay. Was it set in the far flung future? I think
no, the Black Widowers, and this isn't either. In fact, this is set in the past now
yeah,
because
yeah.
it's the 1975, I think it was, ABA convention. It's like over Memorial Day weekend. But I'm digging that. I was kind of looking for something to read during the pandemic, and I'm really enjoying that.
I still haven't gotten back to, like I say, what with the writing kind of distracting, and oh God, I'm being lazy about this writing. I'm letting everything distract me. But I'll get back to the listening to stuff and drawing again. Eventually,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
feeling that I really need to do more drawing. I need to make it a point, whatever happens, get a drawing done a day. You know,
Oh yeah,
some
absolutely.
sort.
Well, you know what's bad is now that I'm like, okay, for the next 2 weeks I'm going to be working half days. I just feel like I got so much free time all of a sudden, you know,
Yeah.
because it's like I'm not furloughed. I still have a job. Oh, and I got all this free time, you know. So
Well, there's just having the job makes you the envy of an awful lot of people
oh my
right now.
gosh. Oh, I know. I feel bad for so many people. I know a lot of artists who lost their, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
pencils down.
oh yeah, I would. Yeah, I mean, I was just talking about locally, but yeah, the you know what,
The
and you
Marvel
know
things.
the other thing.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing about that, Ellis, is my writer emailed me the other day and was like, "Hey, you're still working on it, right? Don't Of course, the difference is I'm not getting a page rate, so there's. I think a lot of the Marvel thing is they didn't want to pay a page rate.
I can't wait till
You
you
know.
see this thing totally see the fruits of it. It'll be fun to see what
Oh
happens.
gosh, you and me both, man. Hopefully, it's so phenomenal. I'm so famous that I won't ever talk to you again. No.
There will, yeah, there will be a void though, of course, once you're done. And all of a sudden,
Oh, I don't
this,
know what I'm gonna do. I'm already
yeah.
trying to line up more work. In
Well, yeah,
fact,
well, yeah.
I've been revamping my web page because I somebody the other day was saying on social media was saying, "Hey, artist, share your artwork," and
Yeah.
I was looking at it and I go, "Oh my gosh, I haven't updated this thing like in 3 years," and so I've been working on doing that just to have it because. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it's like I don't know what I'll do with myself. The loss of, I mean, my life is oriented around sitting here and drawing. You know.
Well, and plus you've got your studio all decked out now with a TV attached to the wall, and
Oh
that's
yeah.
that can be very handy. I mean, you've got a Roku capable TV where you could be on YouTube anytime, and of course, Roku also takes. They have the Roku app. All you have to do is
It's on there now.
stick a thumb drive in it, and watch and look at JPEGs.
Yeah.
Anytime you want to. There's your ref. Anytime you want it,
Yeah.
right there in front of your eyes.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice. I've probably been watching. Well, I'll tell you what I've been doing. Putting on YouTube on the live. I've been watching the Times Square cam,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's
That's good.
interesting. But
Yeah, that sounds like
yeah,
fun, actually.
it's cool. It's like having a studio in Times Square with
That's
the
a great
window open.
backdrop. Does it have the street noise and all that?
Yeah,
Excellent.
a little bit though. It's taken from about like the second story or third story,
Well,
but you
yeah, but
can still hear
it would
cars
be
and
it
stuff.
would be an ambient sound like that bowling alley ambiance. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The the and what I've noticed is, of course, now there's nobody in Times Square hardly, and I've noticed over the past couple days it's gotten more and more crowded in Times Square. I mean, it's still a fraction of what it was, when we were there last.
Somebody,
But you can tell people are tired of being cooped up. People
some
are only going to be cooped
some
up for so long.
someone has shown up in the chat named Wim. I probably ought to know who it is, but he says, never thought of that. Thanks, Ellis. I guess he's talking about the Roku idea.
Oh yeah, yeah. This TV and then my main TV downstairs is a Roku TV, and it's a pretty good system. You can
I think
do about anything.
I
Do
think
YouTube. You can do.
I've bought three
Yeah,
Rokus by now. But you're buying Roku TVs. Yeah.
yeah. The TV is operated off of Roku.
Mm.
But it's cool because it does YouTube and it does Amazon Prime, and that's about all I need. Really, it
Yeah.
seems like.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell you, that
And it'll
Amazon
do
Prime.
well. And I tell you what else it'll do. It will sync up with my computer in the next room, and I can watch movies that I have in my movie file in there. So that's kind of handy.
Oh, that would be nice. So it takes on a really big hard drive and will sort through what your.
Mm, Yep.
That is really nice. Yeah, that'd be nice to do that. The
Yeah.
I've encountered. I forget what it was. Well, there are some limitations. Sometimes when you try to fire up something on a flash drive if I forget what my problems were. Most of the times I can, watch anything I've managed to put onto a flash drive. I have this software called Wondershare, and
Oh yeah.
it allows you to download straight from YouTube just about anything that's already there. And you know how many public domain things are there and how many actually pirated things are there or whatever, things that nobody cares about that are there.
Yeah.
I forget what I got the other day. Oh, someone someone had a YouTube of their discussion of Frazetta. We went on for about 50 minutes. I just said, well, you know what? I'll just go ahead and copy that and watch it sometime on YouTube. So I've got it ready to maybe watch again with, and it also, it rips DVDs. So DVDs I personally own or have somehow acquired can be ripped, like as in borrowing them from the library.
Oh yeah, and then
ripping them. I miss the library, I tell you.
Yeah.
The library, I'll look more forward to that opening up again than just about anything.
Oh yeah, me too. Even though I'll be honest with you, I kind of miss going to work. I mean, you know, the commute is nice because I wake up at 6:30 and I'm at work by 7. You know,
I thought you hated that commute. No.
No. I'm talking about now. The commute from my bedroom to the office.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a great commute.
I can go downstairs, start coffee, get in the shower, get dressed, get a cup of coffee, and be clocked in about 30 minutes after I get out of bed. But
go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say I'm ready to go back though. I mean, as much as it is, Michelle and I are running at lunchtime, which is great. I love it, but one of the salespeople I work with a lot called me today. He emailed me a question. I said, "Can you call me? I'm not sure." And so we talked, and I was like, "I just want to." He said, I figured out the question. He said, but I wanted to call you anyway just to talk to you. I said, okay. I had no problem with that. My job is I told Michelle I've realized how much time I spend on the phone talking to people at my job,
Mm-hmm.
And, and I kind of missed that. I mean, these are people that I've known for, some of them for, I worked there for 31 years. So, some of these people I've known for quite a while.
It is amazing.
Yeah,
I'm doing push-ups. I've started to do push-ups again, and I was just shocked once I decided and did 10. It took it was hard, and so I'm on day 3 or 4, and now
how many you up to?
Well, I'm not trying to do multiples of anything more than 10, but I'm doing sets.
Oh yeah,
and the pleasure and the joy of it is such that the sets are getting closer and closer together. I'm doing them within like an hour now, and doing about 40. But now it's like, you know what? There's going to come a day where I do the whole 40 of them. Just within a couple of minutes, saying, "Oh, that's enough break. Do some more." But I like
I'll go through.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I'll go through a while. I'll get a wild hair where I'm like, oh, I need to start doing setups, and it's shocking how when you don't do them, how hard 10 are.
Oh yeah.
When I last time I did them, I don't know what I did, but man, I swear I pulled some kind of muscle in my stomach, and the next day I thought I was having appendicitis or something. I was like, oh my gosh. Of course, I knew what it was.
You got to watch that. Yeah, it's and the same thing goes with all those chest exercises. You we had
Oh
a
yeah.
we had a couple guys got a chin bar
God.
at the at Blue Sky one time, one of those freestanding
Yeah.
chin bars, and they started working on it and getting real dedicated to it. And they came out for the afternoon basketball thing, and they had two of them thinking they might be suffering from heart attacks because that
And
muscle
it,
pain, it goes so deep. You think, wait, what? Why does my chest feel like that? And it's just they'd overdone it.
dude, I tell you what, we were running Monday and it was really cold.
Uh huh.
And I don't know what the deal was, but man, we got running. I couldn't breathe. I was like, Michelle, you've got to stop. I can't breathe. And I think it was just allergies,
Yeah.
But of course, in the midst of everything that's going on, I was like, oh my gosh,
You were worried.
am I catching something?
Pick up something from the ground, stick it in your mouth, and see if you still have your sense of taste. That's your other check. And I'm kidding.
Oh, is that one of the tests? If you lose your
Yeah,
sense of taste?
supposedly if you lose your sense of taste, which I assume is just all based on, you supposedly can't taste anything if you can't smell it, or you don't have. A lot of people that lose their ability to smell, they're not going to be big eaters. Your joy
Oh yeah.
in eating is 90%. You don't realize it, but it's 90% smelling it, taking it in, which is,
I could see that.
yeah.
I had one time I had a some sort of infection, and I had a fever of like 100 and I think it got up to like 104 at one point, or maybe it was 103. It was pretty high. It was high enough that the doctor was like, I called. It was on the weekend, and he said if it doesn't go down, dude, I think he told me to take aspirin or something. He said if it doesn't go down in about an hour, call me. And it did, but I could for about a week. I couldn't eat because everything just like I tried to eat like a sandwich. Everything tasted like fish. No toast.
Yeah,
I tried to
that's
eat
weird.
toast, and the bread tasted like fish. And I don't mean like good fish. It was disgusting. You know. And I was just like, oh. And I mean, I like fish, okay, but I was like, oh, you know. So yeah, I think a fever can do something to your sense of taste. At least that's been my experience. But
Yeah. I They talk about, I guess that's what the chloroquine is. Have you ever had a fever break to where you literally were like, well, for one thing, you instantly felt better, and you knew that it's like one of these cold fronts we have here in Oklahoma where it hits you just like a wall. You say, "Ah, the cold front has arrived." If you've ever been
yeah,
outdoors when one of those hits, and it, your fever breaking. I've had to where I literally was in this weird level of sweat on my body where it all just like dropped out of my body all at once, and all of a sudden I was just coated with sweat, almost like a sticky glycerin kind of way that I've never experienced before. But I instantly felt better, and it was weird. It's like, well, I don't ever want to get that sick again, but that was kind of cool. And I've had I've had fever dreams that don't allow you to enjoy laying around. You have to constantly be tossing and turning. There's no point where you can find comfort in a position. You have to just like
yeah.
you know uh, twitch around. But at the same time, I remember what a cool, we were talking about the movie Altered States. It was
Oh yeah,
an altered state that was kind of cool. I mean, but it was it was an awful, unpleasant kind of coolness, you know,
well,
physically.
I'm I'm a
What?
big fan of the Flaming Lips,
Uh-huh.
and supposedly their lead singer. One of the things that he used to do, I don't know if he still does, but one of the things he used to do was he would go on these fasts just to kind of enter some sort of just this idea of
Yeah.
to see what it would do to him,
He's
and
altered consciousness. Yeah. Yeah.
to alter his consciousness somehow.
Well,
Um,
that's a big deal. And, Scott Adams swears by it. But, then he right on the heels of it says, I cannot recommend it. And obviously, a psychotic person, if they get a hallucinogenic in their system, that, it's like, they might get suicidal or something like that.
yeah,
But he talks about the state when you achieve a state that the ego, it's an ego death kind of thing where anything that you had been overly concerned about drops away with certain kinds of drugs. I've seen this a lot lately in discussions where I can tell there's people that are kind of starting to advocate, like, let's try some psychotropics every now and then for just for the sake of our cultural well-being. Maybe if we and we used to say it all the time when I was a kid in our stupid hippie dippy generation that what that guy needs to do is get stoned, and it's like,
yeah.
you know really unlikely that that's what anyone will gain anything from. These studies are going to come out that show that you know hey, I'm going to
So
put you I'm going to
is
put you on solo layout for us so I can disappear for a while. Go ahead and talk about what you're up to.
okay. I'm up to drinking coffee right now. So Ellis is gone, I guess, or Ellis is gone to get some coffee or something. Um, so I'll talk about this book for a second that I'm working on. If you've watched this, you've heard this, and I apologize because I've been working on this for a while. This is my book, Heaven's Rejects. Um, it's written by Greg Wright, and it's about three angels, which are these are the angels that get kicked out of heaven. They come to Earth, and they have to like earn a living here in Earth. And so basically, how they do that is they hire themselves out to fight not really crime, but more like supernatural menaces. And so this is issue 4. This is the last issue. And when I get done with it, I'll have to ink it. When I get done with it, the publisher's going to put it out. I have a publisher. It's probably going to come out through SourcePoint Press, but anyway, these girls are at something called MurderCon, which is a convention for serial killers. And so they're looking, and initially there's always a pre credits phase to these books. And so they're at MurderCon, they're kind of walking around, and there's all this stuff, and they meet up with this guy, and they're looking for him, and so they fight him. Well, then kind of find out he's a demon because he's got these wings, and
I'm back, by the way.
and so the oh okay. Anyway, so they're chasing him through this convention center, and I like I like in this panel they fight him. So the one girl slugs him, the other girl's kicking him. While she's kicking him, she's winding up with a big paddle, and she whacks him on the rear end. And so the conceit in this is that these angels and these demons and stuff, they are they don't have wings all the time. They can kind of change their form, but the wings are usually hidden, and so they kind of sprout them, kind of like Wolverine's claws. They kind of burst out in this.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, what? Well, because we got to talking about it, and I asked him. I said, "What do you want to do about their wings?" Because he was writing it. This is a comic writer.
Yeah, how do you get into a car?
And how do you? Oh, yeah, they're in a car, and it's like, well, do they have wings out? Do they have? and he was writing it where, and he said, well, they can retract them. So sometimes they have it, sometimes they don't. I said, well, we got to show that,
Yeah,
or else
yeah.
people will
Got to
just
do a
think
little
I forgot to.
exposition on that.
Exactly. Or else people will think I forgot to draw them at
Yeah,
some point.
yeah.
And so that, in fact, that's what this panel is. And I officially hate drawing them with the wings, by the way. In fact, I told him when we're
Wings are
done,
tough.
they should get their wings taken at the end of this issue, but I don't think they do. But anyway, so all the characters have wings, or a lot of the supernatural characters have wings, and I've had to draw all kinds of odd supernatural characters. I was telling Ellis, not sure if it was now or on the other stream we did or whatever, but that I've redone with this coronavirus. I've gotten a lot of stuff done that I had put off. One of which was I revamped my webpage. It's at scottsackett.org if anybody wants to check it out. But I so I was looking because I hadn't put anything on it in like 2 years, so there was none of this art was on there, and it's like, holy cow! And in fact, the only thing that was the newest thing on there, Ellis, was the story that I did that the color is butchered by re-inking.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, I don't want, I want to forget that this ever happened.
Yeah, take that down. Hey, look at this. I learned a new trick. I learned a new trick. When I roll over on comments, it's got a little thing that says show. And look at that. Never thought of that. Thanks, Ellis.
I saw something pop up on my TV.
So when we get people that show up here, I'll always share what they're.
That's a good idea.
We've got a chatter going.
Yeah, good idea. Are you doing what is it, drawing and quarter tonight, or?
No, I had Edwin Boyette contact me and ask how I was doing. I don't know if he was, putting out feelers on whether I was okay and wanted to do drawing quartered or whatever. I just told him, I was thinking more like that. My big plan on House Party was that if I did put things out on the internet, I was going to go ahead and slap a little bit of editing on the things. Like the ideal guy for a YouTube presence is Brubaker, Jason Brubaker.
Oh.
He's the guy that does it right. He goes to the trouble of making little cuts. He treats it like he's red letter media, basically. He says, and he was offering something right now. It's called cognitive drawing, and he does a really nice pitch when he is offering something. It's like, I've got such poor sales resistance. I was ready to buy it, but right now I'm hanging on to my money at the moment, especially when it comes to tutorial stuff. It's like, good Lord, Ellis, you right-clicked enough tutorial stuff, right-click saved. I could go to a university right now of just data I've gathered about all this stuff. I don't. The thing a guy needs to know is you just need to do your preparation. If you're going to be drawing a certain character, just draw it until it's coming out your ears to where you're good at it. And then you're ready, before you set pencil and paper, And I kind of knew that anyway, but I think all that comes from being around these guys that are their talent before they got into comics or anything or video games was they were animators. And when you animate, it's like that. What's his name, Narwhal, that I showed you his work, which didn't excite you, which I understand because he's not a renderer. I mean, he doesn't treat, and I understand the joy, or not the joy, the difference between somebody that renders and someone that doesn't. But there's something that excites me more about the guys that reduce it to the absolute essentials that I wish I had. Every time I started drawing, I have to do my usual amount of rendering to find my way into the drawing. And I hate it.
Oh, sure.
I want it to be the big shapes, a quick lick, and it's the big shape and it's done. You know. And I can kind of put my mind there and do something like that, but I'm still not happy with it.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's hard to do the easy stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, the quote easy stuff, I should say. Yeah, because I'm the same way. Your instinct is to over render everything, or mine is at least. And so yeah, when
It's
you see
because
somebody that does
you know, a lot of that is the zone you get into while drawing. Is again another altered state thing. It's the pleasure is the making the marks. So you make too many of them. You know the simplicity mode is more like you're having to write and edit a little more. So you're saying, okay, brain, now you have to work. Whereas your brain can go off and you can coast a little bit if you're just doing your usual saying, I'm here, I'm making my marks, and I'm getting it done. You're the only one drawing in the shot, so I'm not commenting on what I'm seeing you're doing. I'm making a comment about the process that I found myself in, I've realized I wasn't thinking enough about how I am drawing, which is a good way to go, because like I'm reading I'm really big into Kubert of late, and I'm reading this Sergeant Rock, and it's like everything is just, every page has the same lessons to learn. And so there they are, they're right in front of you in terms of like background, middle ground, foreground, how best to have a level of detail fall off, and all that. And it's just all right there. A guy, if he had half of what Kubert had in his head, period, you're ready to go in comics. Because what he was up to is exactly what I'm talking about. Even though he renders quite a bit, he really likes to do some nice interwoven hatching and stuff like that. But at the same time, it is just, he's also leaving it simple to the extent of saying, no, I don't need any zipatone. He doesn't need a tone because he's going to lay it out with a hatch kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he's perfectly attuned to what will look good when it's printed,
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel about that Jim Mooney stuff that I was talking about earlier. It's like you look at it and it's such a clinic on how to put out how to do a comic.
A really good read. That Lambic entry on him has a thing where he has Elvira up.
Oh yeah, that's that.
I guess it was Mistress of the Dark, probably.
Yeah.
Some sort of comic book, and that would have been no doubt some of his later stuff.
Oh yeah. But yeah, when you see somebody that does that, and you realize what they're doing, and you realize every shot is different and has like a good angle, and it really makes you realize how bad you are at this.
Of course, I laugh at I come across Kubert in this Sergeant Rock, and he's got he covers the same ground so much. I mean, it's just issue after issue of having to tell these very similar stories, and they're always in foxholes. And it's like,
Oh yeah.
you have to laugh because it's just a way to draw ahead with a few clods, a few clods in front of it, and that says, well, that guy's figure is obscured by he's all the way into his foxhole. And I
He's in the
think to myself,
foxhole.
yeah, most foxholes probably don't go down to your bottom of your rib cage, but in most cases, probably I don't imagine they dig them to where someone can stand up in them most of the time. But it's funny, you always see Sergeant Rock with his head at nose level to some clods looking out from his foxhole.
Hey, Kubert was no dummy.
Oh yeah. But you're big, like you say, you accept it. Yeah.
Yeah, it works.
Unless you're seeing it so much, you're laughing at it every time you see it.
Yeah, I was reading. What was I reading? I was reading something that was talking about in comics, what you aim for is believability.
Right.
And it said, a guy like John Buscema and a guy like Neil Adams, they both had believability. Now, Neil Adams was more, like a photo guy, so he had realism. Buscema didn't necessarily have realism, but he had believability.
Oh yeah, are you thinking that Neil Adams did a lot of photo reference for what he was up to? Because I think he was an inventive genius. I think he could invent.
No. He used a lot of photo stuff.
Well, he used photos. He did a lot of caricatures like Ben Casey and stuff like that. You're thinking he doesn't invent that much.
Well, I don't know. I don't want to say that, but he has talked about he used what are they? The things that blow up the photos.
An Artograph.
What? An Artograph. Thank you. I hadn't used one in years.
Yeah.
But
you
talked about
things like cars and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and he comes out, he's got that advertising stuff,
Oh, yeah. No. His advertising stuff, yeah. Crank out the Artograph, you bet.
Yeah, why not?
Especially if you're doing something that, a lot of that advertising work is just beautiful little headshots a lot of the time.
Yeah, or likeness,
something. Your likeness is right.
Or sort of a likeness or something,
Yeah. That's what's amazing about Kirby. You don't think of him like a Jack Davis or another guy or a Mort Drucker who died recently. Having that great caricature ability. But I tell you what, Kirby he was doing the Patrick McGoohan Prisoner.
Oh, yeah.
And I swear he was doing these ditzy, these dinky little drawings of McGoohan that you could still tell were Patrick McGoohan's head. And I thought, man, there's that guy distilling that and being such a genius at what he distills it down to.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, we're closing in on 58. We'll 59 minutes. Wow, countdown.
Oh, yeah.
Blast off. We will quit later than an hour. What do you think?
That sounds good. Sounds good. I'm about ready to call it a night.
Okay, yeah. Sorry about all. We had all kinds of snafus. I had one that was scary.
That happens.
Get on the internet. I couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong. So, well, I'm going to go right back in the living room and probably watch those last three Justifieds. because I'm just that
Oh,
hooked. And then I'm gonna
I
make
will-
myself quit watching them until the library opens. How about that? I'll wait till the library opens.
so that sounds good. I'm gonna go watch an episode or two of The Sopranos.
There you go. Hey, Scott, it's been good to talk to you again. We'll see you
Ellis
soon.
is. I'll see you, Ellis.
Okay.
Have a good one, man. Stay safe.
All right.